Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Tuesday, October 2nd, 2012. Yesterday was October 1st. It's the Chinese equivalent of July 4th or July 14th. It's the day the Chinese People's Democratic Republic was founded in 1949. There was a huge fireworks display last night at Hong Kong Harbor and elsewhere in China. Unfortunately, in Hong Kong Harbor, two ships collided, killing 37 people. One ship was owned by Hong Kong Electric Corporation. That's the company that's controlled by billionaire La Ka-shing. That ship collided with a ferry, a regularly scheduled Hong Kong and Kowloon ferry. A ship owned by Hong Kong Electric went down very quickly after the collision. The ferry was relatively unscathed. The ship that sank had 125 people on board. At least 37 of them are reported to have drowned as of this point. The accident occurred at about 8:30 p.m. last evening, and there was an intensive air and sea search that was tracked on Hong Kong TV. In California yesterday afternoon, there was a collision involving an Amtrak train and a huge truck that was carrying waste cotton. The truck apparently was traveling at 50 miles an hour and ignored a grade crossing. The train was moving at about 70 miles per hour. The locomotive and two cars ended up coming off the track when the train finally did stop after hitting the truck some 600 feet later. About 25 people were reported injured. Last month, Axis Specialty Insurance announced the appointment of one Jane Boisseau to the Axis board. That normally in itself would not be particularly newsworthy, no offense to Ms. Boisseau, but Ms. Boisseau replaced John Charman, who was the founder of Axis. Charman at that point had been removed by the board because of misunderstandings on his part, according to the board, regarding his role and responsibilities. Well, the Insurance Insider reports yesterday that Mr. Charman has accused Axis of betrayal, and he vows to return in 2013. He is determined to be every bit as successful as he was at Axis and previous to Axis as he was at Lloyd's. He said that he built Axis from scratch into a $6 billion global powerhouse. He's going to look for opportunities next year after he's spending the remainder of 2012 with his family. And say whatever you want about John Charman, he supposedly is a difficult fellow to work for, but he's always a success. New Zealand-listed insurance company Tower has renewed its reinsurance for its catastrophe excess of loss, and they've once again seen a rate increase, 25% this year. This is on top of a 70% increase that they saw last year. The U.S. Geological Survey is reporting that there was another big quake in the same area in Japan where the quake occurred in March of last year. This was a 6.2. It occurred in Iwate Prefecture, about 340 miles from Tokyo. No reports of any damage or injuries. Last year, the MV Rena, a container ship, beached itself inadvertently or intentionally, depending upon who you believe, on a reef in New Zealand. It was the worst environmental disaster in New Zealand's history. The Greek shipping company agreed today to pay the government of New Zealand about $31.5 million for cleanup costs. The company Costamare, along with its insurers, agreed this morning to settle with the New Zealand government for $23 million for oil cleanup costs, and if the ship is not removed from the reef, another $8.5 million. The New Zealand government itself is going to be out about $7.5 million. There was a massive explosion at a chemical warehouse in Winnipeg last night. It caused the evacuation of about 100 people. The warehouse was owned by Speedway International, which is described on its website as North America's #1 source for racing methanol, which is highly flammable. The firefighters on the scene themselves were forced to withdraw because the fire burned so hot it ended up exploding a fire truck and a fire tanker. According to the fire chief, we did have a tanker explode here earlier that sent flames about a half mile into the air. That was pretty significant, and it forced us to rethink our strategy. The fire is now out. American Airlines has had to temporarily ground 8 of its 757s after passengers have reported that the seats were moving around and sliding around the cabin. It seems that the planes, in fact, had been recently serviced by American Airlines maintenance crews, and nobody's saying this, but it seems as if that after that the seats were not properly affixed to the floors of the planes. American Airlines officially said that there seems to be some difficulty with the seats fitting into the track. The FAA is investigating. Nobody is dare suggesting any sort of industrial sabotage. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching.